What's up, guys? Okay, so let's see if this one works a little bit better. I don't love this camera. I love my other camera, so the camera is just not my friend. So let's just check it out and see. But anyways, I was just on and I was just letting you guys know that I'm excited about today's show, and we have a lot of different things going on, so you definitely want to check out the my IG, okay? Let me know how it's sounding now, if it seems a little bit too low or if the volume is better. That way I can adjust myself accordingly. Okay, all right. Okay, perfect. So guys, I'm excited about today. I wanted to let you guys know about BeFit. What's up, everybody coming in the chat? We got to get this conversation on and started. So we are going in the building so we can talk, we can chat.
No, you sound much better.
Sound better now?
Yeah.
Okay. How are you?
I'm here. That's the best answer I can give you. I am here.
Yes. All right. I'm glad to see you. Glad that you're here. We're about to get into it, everybody. We're going to get into a really, really good conversation today. I'm excited about it. I'm honored to have Sue on this. If you guys have seen her Instagram, this is Miss Island Sweetness. Well, you know what? You need to introduce yourself so that let everybody know who you are, what you do, and all that good stuff.
So yes, hello everyone in IG world. My name is Susan Jackson, normally referred to as Sue or Coach Sue, and I'm the founder of Island Sweat Fitness, which is a a virtual Caribbean gym that's really focused on movements connected to mental health. So positive movements, positive emotions is my tagline. And it's really about moving out of self-love and self-compassion, so very body inclusive, inclusive to any form of energy. Like it's not about just being positive only, just accepting of any types. But everything is to Caribbean music. I am Jamaican by birth, Trinidadian by descent. Both parents are Trini. And so Island Sweat is basically it's like a love child. It's an extension of my personal journey with fitness, with mental health, and of course always identifying so heavily with my culture. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I am very much like I love to push the boundaries as a plus size instructor. So like I have multiple certifications to my name simply because I really believe that representation matters. So I try to put myself in places that you won't see. So I am a spin instructor, I'm a stretch functional movement therapist. I did the whole Zumba CamFit Pro as a personal trainer, but it's just about just putting my Caribbean spin on anything that I touch that I like.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. And I couldn't help but just be like, wow, she's doing Marshall for oh,
I
everybody.
have been dodging that. Like, I've been trying to explain to the girls that Marshall on a bike is like, it's gonna be real. It's gonna be hard. But they've been asking for this. I mean, since I opened my doors virtually last year, March, on World Mental Health Day. And so people have just been on me about when is this Marshall ride coming in. But I was dodging. I did like Shensia and Spice and Kez and Kerwin, and they were just like, Marshall? So yes, we are doing that on August 2nd. So that would have been the Monday after Caravana. It's kind of like a last lap. I'm not as huge about the road march. I mean, I do carnival in Trinidad because I think that's real carnival. But I'm very much about Caravana, the festivities and the fete. So this is really an adjustment. And I know a lot of people are suffering from little bouts of depression because there's no Caravana this year. This is the second year. So I just thought, hey, why not just throw something out there that would be fun and different. So yes, the Masha ride is on August 2nd, and God knows it's going to be entertaining.
Definitely. So how can people join that?
So just head over to the link either in my bio or just search islandsweatfitness.com. The drop-in rate is $15. It is a premium class because most of my classes are 30 minutes. That class is 45 minutes. So it's a little bit of a stretch, but it's all good. The thing about it, there's a principle I have in every class that I teach, which is Island Sweat is really about celebrating what your body can do. So, I always, in every class, I always say, you do not need to be in sync with me. If you have to sit or go slower, it's fine. Listen to the music. And that's really why I really push that Caribbean music, because even if you're just vibing and doing a two-step, it's going to get the heart rate up and you're going to get a workout. But I really don't want people to feel guilt or this need to be perfect. I just want them to show up and have fun and get those happy endorphins kind of running through their body.
For sure, for sure. Well, it definitely, the way you do it, girl, when you put your commercials out there, I'm like, damn, it looks like a lot of fun. A lot of fun. You look like you're having a good time. I'm sure everybody must be having a good time.
I am. So no, movement's very, very important to me. So it's just it's a hobby that has just snowballed into its own little entity.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. So when did you get started?
So I started Island Sweat. Well, it's funny. The concept of Island Sweat Fitness, actually, I had in June 2019. I had been on my own personal fitness journey. And I came up with the concept at first, just saying I would love to have a Caribbean-only gym that featured different forms of movement to just Caribbean music, like by us, for us, and everybody else, but by us. We using our own culture. Because the thing is, as an immigrant, it was a little bit of a culture shock coming to Canada and going to classes that were labeled Caribbean and they have no understanding of the culture. And I was just like, okay, this is just a marketing ploy. So I came up with the rough concept in June 2019. At the time, I wasn't a trainer. I was just a fitness junkie. And it was really me completing my 1-year goal within fitness that kind of propelled me becoming a trainer. And then COVID actually was the reason why it started, because I had my own injuries, had to have my setbacks personally, and it was me trying to crawl out of a little depressive episode, and my friends are just like, you have all these certifications and you're just sitting on it. When is this happening? So when is this happening? So I was just I was dodging. But I knew it made sense. And a lot of it was also coming over my own insecurities about being a plus size trainer and putting it out there. And also just other people often telling me, I didn't fit their brand. I was too large to represent their brand. They didn't get the mental health component at all. There's a huge disconnect there. But I started, and, I'm surprised that we're still kicking and going. And it seems to be picking up momentum. But it's one of those things that I think if you get it, you get it. If you don't get it, you don't get it. But if you get it, you absolutely get it. And I've had, some of my regular clients really reach out to me and tell me, the classes have really helped them with the pandemic, has helped them to have bouts of just feeling happy and joyful and feeling normal and connected. And that's really why I do this, is to kind of create a sense of community where we can all come and just pretend we're not in a pandemic and have a little moment of happiness. We all deserve that.
Definitely. And that's important because we're all going through it. We're going through it, we are managing and we're getting through, but at the same time, you do still, need that sense of relief sometimes,
Yeah. And that's something I think, to be honest with you, Island Sweat became less of a dream or a concept and more of a reality as I kind of came to terms with my own mental health. So it was like as one got stronger, then the concept became okay, I don't care if this makes sense to no one. I'm going to try it because at least I really had a very supportive circle. And so no matter how many times, sometimes I say to my friends, "Oh, I'm going to close it," they just look at me like, "No, you're not. You're not closing it because that's your heart, and you need to foster that like your little your little pet project, the way you always do." But it is aligned with it's kind of like my own form of therapy, I guess, or an extension of my therapy, I should say.
Yeah, and it's important. So talk to us about how mental health and fitness go together.
Yeah, mental health and fitness. A lot of people don't understand the connection. Um, but I think the best way to explain it is my personal journey because my journey inspired me doing this. So being Caribbean, I always grew up being told I had quirks. But as life kind of kept on throwing curveballs at me, I started realizing something was off, and the culture of putting your kids first, everybody comes first, and accepting self neglect as something that's okay was something that came to the forefront. And 5 years ago was on the passing of my father that kind of inspired me to start digging a little bit deeper and actually addressing my mental health because I saw my father the Christmas before he died. And the few last words he said to me, "Susan, I want you to be happy." He knew always that I was always struggling with being happy, or what happy looked like was always a question mark. And he was just like, "I just want you to be happy." So, I've done the whole go on antidepressants for years. But it was after his death I really started to tap in and do therapy. So I started off doing cognitive behavioral therapy. And what was interesting was as I did the therapy, it was like a cloud kind of lifted, and all of a sudden it made sense that I had to focus on my wellness as a holistic approach. It couldn't just be take meds, go to therapy. It had to be more than that. And that was one thing I learned in cognitive behavioral therapy is about finding things that help to de-stress or things that clear your mind more. So I started with nutrition. I was very large, couldn't really work out. I used to work out in my bed. And as I lost a bit of weight, I did start becoming active. But again, I focused heavily more on nutrition and ways of losing weight quickly because I thought skinny meant happy. It's an ideology the society tells you that if you're skinny, you're happy. And I thought, okay, I'm getting skinnier, so I must be happy. And then 2018 came. 2018, I struggled with 3 pregnancy losses in a very short time span. And the last one was extremely traumatic. It was a ruptured ectopic. But what made it hard is there were racial undertones. I work in healthcare. I was working at a time at one of the top hospitals downtown, and at that moment, no matter how educated I was or whatever, and I had on my hospital badge when I went to that particular hospital, all they saw was the locks, the skin, and there was a level of disbelief when talking to them. And then that experience, I thought I knew what depression was. I had been diagnosed and everything. I thought I knew what rock bottom. I'd already attempted to end my life twice before that, but that experience stripped me of every ounce of dignity, and the hole that I felt was no longer a hole. It was just like that's all I saw. I remember feeling powerless. I did a lot of heavy therapy, had to go back on meds because I developed now PTSD with panic attacks where I have moments of heart racing, but somehow I'm looking at myself from outside. It's like disassociation. And it was an experience that I wish on no one. But it made me really start to figure out like, what can I do to feel good. What came, looking back, what did I do that ever made me feel good? What made me feel alive? The Caribbean music came right back in because one of the things I used to ground myself when I had like a panic attack was actually Chronics. I used to listen to Skanking Sweet on repeat, and it was the only thing that would get my heart rate back down. So I was like, okay, anything to do with my culture seems to be good. It grounds me. That's one thing I can keep in my arsenal to help. But the other part was still feeling powerless, feeling weak, feeling like I didn't have control. I had worked with a trainer for a little while before the losses by the name of Trish Curling. And I remembered exercise also made me feel good. Now, I didn't understand how it made me feel good, but it made me feel good. So as part of my healing or therapy with my psychiatrist, I started working out, but not for weight loss, not focusing on weight, just working out. And what I realized is the more I exercised, the more I was able to see what my body could do, the more in control I felt, the more clarity I had. So I still have my bouts of sadness and the intrusive thoughts are still there, but through my fitness journey, I definitely saw a correlation of feeling stronger and feeling empowered. And after what happened in 2018, to me, just feeling like that was like mind blowing. And my psychiatrist was just like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing, but you need to keep doing that. She's like, whatever you're doing, your workouts, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I would go anywhere. And especially if it was Caribbean music, I would be there. I went by myself. I didn't care. I cannot reach up. I don't care. Attitude. But I realized that fitness plays such a powerful role in emotional regulation that if you're struggling with a mental health disorder or just with your general mental health, it's a release valve. And it takes that pressure off the brain so that you get clarity to then look at your problems again with a completely different lens. And so the more I pushed on that and the more I saw the correlation between it, it made sense to me that I had become a fitness junkie because now, upside down hanging, I did it. Yoga, I did it. Spin, I did it. I did anything, and I was like, I'm going to go do it, especially if it was Caribbean music. But the empowerment was real. And when I decided to become a trainer, the motivation was really for the person I was 5 years ago. I think of who I was then, how I felt, like I was just going through life kind of mute, and not being able to be super happy or always feeling like my mental health and my anxiety ruled me. But through exercise, I felt empowered that it was my life and I was just living with this disorder. So when I decided to become a trainer, it was a no-brainer that it would never be about weight loss. It would be about something so much deeper because no matter how skinny you are, mental health it doesn't care your color, how rich you are, how perfect anything is. It will take you down if you're not careful. So anything that builds you up, and fitness does, it builds you up on so many levels because you get to focus on what you can do, what your body can do. And if you keep at it, you get stronger and you start to surprise yourself and you feel so proud. So yeah, to me, that's why, my friends who know me, because after 2018, I lost all my friends. I lost all my circles because a part of me died. And I came back as this person who was just like, I'm fighting for my life. And I was now very strategic about who I brought in with me. And they were all very supportive. They all saw me versus my condition. They'll always say to me, we see your heart. Sometimes you're illogical, you talk foolishness. And you say the stupidest things ever, but they keep on saying, but we know your heart. And so that really helped me. To me, fitness actually gave me my friends. It gave me my circle. So that connection, damn, it's one of those things that I'm really grateful for. I'm grateful that I found it, because if it wasn't there, I don't think I would be sitting here today with you. I genuinely don't.
Well, you should be like big up yourself because honestly, you said in 2018 you were at your lowest, and in
Yeah,
2019 you made a turnaround. That is just 1 year. That is
yeah.
phenomenal. That is phenomenal. And as Chris is saying, you are an inspiration. You definitely are an inspiration because there are so many different people out here that are battling. We don't know the silent battles people are
Yeah.
facing, right? And they could be at their bottom. But to hear where you were and what story you have, and then being able to not only reach out for that help, because it's not easy going and getting the help
No.
that you, right? Going and getting that help and then actually helping yourself too. Because it's one thing getting the help from outside, but
Mm-hmm.
then getting your help from in, like doing it, you did something for yourself. And then you
Yeah.
continue to push yourself, and you're even continuing now to push yourself. So
I have to.
amazing. Yeah.
It's one of those things where I think a lot of people, this is where a lot of people don't understand about mental or living with a mental health disorder. You don't get better. It doesn't go away, right? Like you learn to live with it. So it's constant work. You can't be like, oh, I'm healed and everything's great. No, you will get triggered or life throws a curveball and you start to go through all those emotions again. So it's constant work. And I think that's the part where I think a lot of people don't understand when you have a disorder versus just, compromised mental health. It's a lot of work. It really is a lot of work, and you can't stop. And I feel like if I stop, well, I mean, I have a son. I have a beautiful 17-year-old son, and I gotta keep going. I got to, and too many people who've known me, gotten to know me along the way have just been like, you're fighting for yourself, but you're pulling people with you. So,
Yeah. And it's really important too because, girl, don't.
I know I was stuck up for tears. I'm just warning you for now. I'm a big baller,
Gosh.
but I'm being
Gosh. No, but what I was gonna say is that it's important too, and what you are displaying is that when you decide, is at one point in your story you said you developed an "I don't care" kind of an
yeah.
attitude towards things, and it's not. I'm sure it's not like you don't care, but you have to
Nah.
care about yourself first and do what's best for yourself in order. You can't care about what anybody else is thinking. You can't care about what's going on outside.
And that is hard because most people are people pleasing,
Yeah.
especially coming from a Caribbean background where you need to conform and fit in. And me being an immigrant, the pressure is even harder. Sometimes I try to suppress that Caribbean way to kind of assimilate. Um, but it comes to a point where it's like, okay, I may offend you, and or you may not understand, but I'm focusing on. I think for me, because my depression comes with suicidal tendencies, I think that's where, like, talking with my psychiatrist, she was always like, do you care about them or do you want to live? Like, let's be honest. And if you die and if you end your life, what is your son going to think? So who's more important? Them, your life, and your son? Like, put it into context. And I think once I started putting it like that, I remember a friend of mine who, like, she was very mad at me because I came out of a group chat and she's just like, yeah, what are you doing? I have trusted. And I'm like, listen, that group chat, It's driving me crazy. And I start getting intrusive thoughts that I can't control. So I'm stepping away from that. And if that bothers you, I'm so sorry. I really wish I wasn't hurting your feelings, but I have to save me first, because if I stay in the group to make you happy and I have those intrusive thoughts and I finally give in, what are you going to say to my son? You know, like, how is it going to help anybody in the bigger picture? And if they don't like it, well, so be it. You know, you will lose people. And I think the courage was really more dishonest, and I will lose people. Who I lose weren't meant for me. They weren't ever going to help me be healthier or more functional. They weren't supporting my mental health. So what am I really losing? Is it a bad thing to lose if I lose them? Maybe not. They've served their purpose and we part our ways, right?
And that's big because, as you said, it's not easy, right? It's not
No.
easy being able to make these tough decisions and then sticking to those tough decisions, because people will make you feel bad for doing the things that you want to do for yourself. You know, they'll make you feel bad. So,
Yeah.
girl, good for you. You gotta do that. But now that conversations are opened up more around mental health, why is this top? Well, I mean, it's obvious why this topic is so important to you, but just give us some, different things that you feel when you hear about people talking about mental health, especially in our community, because we all know what it is in the Black community. We're just starting to talk about it now.
Just started.
Still, we're kind of like, okay, all right, you know, like.
I mean, I'll put the context first. I am not a therapist, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. But I think where it becomes really important in our community is two things. One is the correlation of like mental health being possessed by the devil and that you could pray it away. Like, let's be very honest, within the Caribbean culture and within the Black community, health and praying away is like, they go together. And what people don't realize is, or demonizing getting help. Like, oh, don't take antidepressants, they're bad for you, or don't go and get don't go and see a psychiatrist, or therapy doesn't work, or the therapy has to be a Black person for them to to connect with you. Or if someone has actually opened up and said, listen, I'm struggling, what we need to really shift to is being supportive, because it's hard for people to understand how much courage it takes for someone to say, I need help. We are not socialized to ask for help. We are socialized, especially as a Black woman, like, you're supposed to be a strong Black woman. And my whole life I was told, you don't have anything wrong with your mental health. That's white people issues. And I'm looking at them like, but I know what I'm feeling, right? It's real to me. So I think it's about being supportive. If someone's looking for help them navigate it. If their doctor is saying medication, help them do the research to know the side effects, to know what are the alternatives. Don't just shut it down because you don't understand it. But if you love that person and they're saying, I don't know, hold their hand and help them. That's the first thing, is not thinking. Like, the other day I was in a Facebook group, and I saw they were talking about a doctor, and they're like, oh, she cried mental health. And I said, I'm sorry? No one cries mental health. No one cries for the stigma that comes along with it. No one cries for the fact that people will doubt you moving forward. Like, stop saying stuff like that and stop putting this heavy religion connection. Mental health is for everyone, and it impacts everyone. And I think just with COVID, what I hope moving forward is this situational depression that people are experiencing with COVID, they will have more compassion dealing with people moving forward, because what they're feeling is only because of COVID. Once the pandemic becomes a thing of the past, the depression will go. People with a mental health disorder, this is what they live every single day. I mean, I was 14 when I tried to end my life the first time. 14. I'm 39. We're talking decades of living under that cloud, right? So I'm hoping that with conversations starting to be more forefront, there's more compassion with each other. And if someone is saying they're struggling, if you don't understand, do the research with them and help them, because I didn't get a lot of help because my parents and my family would think it would be a shame on the family that I had this, or it was a reflection on their parenting skills. It's not. It really isn't. It's just a genetic disposition that I have, and it is what it is, you know? So that's a huge thing. And then having those conversations moving downwards, because I think you can't change some of the old ones.
Yeah.
They're stuck in the ways. But like my son's 17, and when the pandemic hit, we had those conversations when his restlessness was making him turn into this angry monster. And I was like, okay, so I'm putting you on an exercise regimen. You need to go outside for like 30 minutes, and I don't care what you do, but you need to get rid of this extra energy, and you need to talk about your feelings and use your words and encourage that conversation downwards. Because I think that's really where the change is going to come from the generation that follows. I don't know how much we can change though. Like my mother's, she's learning, but Carrie change those. But starting to have those conversations with the younger ones so that you really get that permanent shift moving forward. So
Definitely.
I think, yeah, it's a double layer.
Yeah, it's an important conversation to have, and you made a good point in talking about it and being able to have those conversations and letting our children and the youth know that it's okay to talk. It's okay to express yourself, because that's where a lot of these built up emotions come from, is not being able to express yourself and not feeling like you're allowed to express yourself. Or you know,
Be seen, not heard.
yeah,
No, be
exactly.
seen, not heard.
That's right. That's right. And that's what a lot of us grew up with, you know? Children are meant to be seen and not heard. Don't say anything. Stay out of this. Don't talk about that. Don't tell anybody your business if you're feeling this way.
Oh my God. Yeah, don't tell me your business. Don't have no friend. Don't trust nobody.
Exactly.
We're socialized to just have zero trust and faith in anyone.
That's right. That's right. And then, you know, things happen, you know, life happens. And how do we express ourselves? How do we know the right ways to express ourselves?
Yeah.
So talk about the importance of actually going out there and being able to conversate, being able to say like, hey, I need help. I need some assistance here. What does that look like?
I think this is where a lot of education needs to be spent on. Like I feel government support, whoever, all these mental health advocates, this is where we need to start focusing on, is on education. What does it look like when you go for help? Mm-hmm. It's being your own advocate. And that's why it's great when you have someone helping you. You go to the doctor, you say, I'm struggling. First of all, being sad for a few days does not equal depression. To get diagnosed with any mental health disorder, it takes multiple criteria. But you go to the doctor, you say you're feeling sad, you're feeling empty, whatever. If they come, which most times they say is antidepressants, ask questions. Ask, what are the side effects? What are my options? What else can I do? You know, is there something else that's not addictive? What would it look like when I'm coming off of it? Do I have to stay in it? Ask the questions up front, because right there, you're helping that provider go, wait. She's asking a lot. So maybe I need to also do some research so I can answer her questions, because some of them don't know. I actually never took antidepressants from a family doctor. I took antidepressants from a psychiatrist, understanding that your family doctor does general, the psychiatrist actually specializes in this, and so I trust them more if they're talking about doing meds. The other thing is about therapy. So I feel this is where a lot of people don't understand. Therapy is a process. You don't go to a psychiatrist or a therapist and do a few sessions and you're healed and everything's great. No. You don't go to a therapist that looks like you, be it color or race or gender, whatever it is, and it clicks. No. No. Therapy is a process, and a lot of it is about fit. So if you are looking to go the therapy route, there are actual articles and books that talk about how to screen for a therapist. So that first meeting with that therapist, you ask questions. You know, what's your approach to this? What techniques are you going to teach me? What should I expect? You know, how long will it take before I start feeling better? A lot of this is just being your own advocate, and this is why if you have support, so someone who maybe does not have a mental health disorder, who's helping you research all of this, it's easier to kind of digest it. And the most important thing is just say, I don't understand. I've said this multiple times to doctors, therapists, you name it, and they're telling me things, and I'm like, I do not understand. And if you can't get me to understand you, I'm not going to do it. And if that person can't explain it to you, find someone else. It's not easy. It is a process. And I think what people don't get, like it took me, I went through 6 psychiatrists before I met one that I actually trusted. I actually haven't met a full-time therapist that I trust. I've only had one that I had an okay relationship with. But it's navigating. Yeah, it's navigating. But the more you learn about your options, what's out there, the more you know what to ask. Every bad experience tells you what to ask next time. And the more empowered you feel when you go into the next situation. So the next therapist know, like, I'm looking for another therapist now to do a different form of therapy. And like, I'm asking questions up front. So what's your principle in this? Do you believe in boxing people into a diagnosis, or do you believe that people could be a spectrum of things? You know, asking very specific things. But it's a process, and I think people need to realize that it's a journey that you'll go on. Therapy is for everyone. Therapy is not only for people that have mental health disorders. If you're living with someone with a mental health disorder, it actually would be great for that person, the support person, to get therapy to ensure that they're also respecting boundaries and not getting too wound up and caught up in that person's disease too. So it's just about being patient. It really is about being patient. It's a process, and there's no right or wrong. You're not failing at it. And the reality is healing is not linear. So you might feel okay, you're not getting anywhere because you still have your negative thoughts, you still have your bouts of depression. Listen, you guys see me hopping on bike and being happy and woo! And my very good friends will tell you there are days where my WhatsApp picture is a black circle. I'm not talking to anybody because I've gone into my cave. And I need that moment to process. Now I'll come back out, but it's not linear. The point is that you keep moving forward, and every day you move forward, that is progress. You are healing. It might look that way because you're looking at small detailed things, but the bigger picture is you're still here, you're still trying, which means you are healing. I know it's a lot.
No, I'm writing stuff down because you're speaking on some really important things, things that we don't always hear. When people talk about, oh, get a therapist, they make it seem like just go out there, get a therapist, everybody needs a therapist. It's like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, people want to hear this information. They need to know. I
wish they did more education about this. And, I have a good friend who was navigating through this with her child, and she kind of reached out to me, and I was like, I'm always very afraid to share my experience because I always don't want to feel like I'm being too condescending or too forceful, because it can come across at times like that. But she was just like, Susan, I wish people talked about this. I wish people said, yeah, you might go on antidepressants and it takes 3 different drugs before you find one that actually works. Or you might see 5 therapists before you find a therapist that you actually click with. And it doesn't mean therapy doesn't work. It just meant it wasn't a good fit. And if it's not a fit, the therapy is ineffective, basically. Yeah.
And then you said there's a difference, obviously, between a psychiatrist and a therapist. What's
Yes.
the difference?
The biggest difference is, so you have therapists, it could be a social worker, that's more dealing with psychology, or you could have psychotherapy. And they could be trained in different forms. There's DBT, there's a whole spectrum. I'm still learning, still learning. There's a whole million ways. And then you have a psychiatrist. The difference is the psychiatrist is a medical doctor. They're the only ones that can actually diagnose you with a mental health disorder. And they're the only ones that can actually prescribe you medication. If you are just suffering from diminished mental health, you know, seeing a psychiatrist, they won't follow you. They might just see you once and say, this is what we recommend, and then they'll send you back to your family doctor to be monitored. If you have a mental health disorder, that's when you tend to have a psychiatrist you work with on a regular basis. But you do not see them every week unless you're in an acute state. So like after my loss, I saw my psychiatrist every week for about 2 months. But typically you see psychiatrists maybe once every 2 months. The therapist is there to just talk with you, for you to help identify your problems, to problem solve on like that daily basis. The psychiatrist does big picture. Big picture, what is your issue? Do you have an issue? Do you have a disorder? How do we like treat that? And they will also recommend what type of therapy you should go through. The therapist is a person that helps you deal with your day-to-day emotions. You know, when I get mad, I want to punch the wall. Okay, well, what are the techniques that you can employ to process that rage so you don't punch the wall? The psychiatrist is not going to do that, right? They just work on different levels.
Yeah, that's important to know too, because
Yeah.
you know, it may be a distinction that people have to make. Who do I need to go and see? You know, do I need a psychiatrist, or do I need a therapist, or do I need both? You know?
Right, that's it. Do you need both? Do you need one? And that's a huge part of it but I mean, and if you have a psychiatrist I think I will say a psychiatrist is needed if you have a mental health disorder. So if you have a mental health disorder, so anxiety disorder, manic depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, those kind of things, you need a psychiatrist to follow you, because that is going to need a few medical interventions at certain points. If you're just dealing with situational depression, so a divorce, a death, you know, pandemic, you know, maybe you might see a psychiatrist once, once or twice, but then your family doctor could monitor you if you do start meds, and then your therapist really becomes your point of contact, because they're helping you navigate the day-to-day skills, which is what you're most likely struggling with. Yeah.
So then, like, I guess in your situation, when did you become diagnosed? When it was does it take a serious situation, I guess, almost for the diagnosis?
It doesn't take a serious situation, but I think it's when you're ready. I know this is gonna sound so counterproductive that I'm saying this. I didn't get diagnosed until I was ready to be honest.
I see.
Right, so at 14, when the first time I tried it in my life, I saw a psychiatrist, and she's sitting there talking to me, and I'm just saying everything I know she wants me to say, so she would tell my mother I'm fine and let me go home. So I'm not even entertaining that, right? When I got diagnosed, I actually went to my family doctor. It was when I was going through my first divorce, and I was like, I am a risk to myself. I'm scared of what I can do. I want my son to be safe. I want a diagnosis. And that conversation with that psychiatrist, I had to be extremely honest and blunt about my whole life. Like, it's not like you just talk about what you want to talk about. They're gonna really pry into even down to your childhood And then the more you open you are, the better or the more accurate that diagnosis is going to be. And if you don't like your diagnosis, get a second opinion. But it doesn't have to be something manic that happens. I think it's when you're willing to say something's wrong and you're ready to be open. Because every time you hide, you don't want to tell them about your childhood or whatever, it's harder for them to actually give you a proper diagnosis.
Right. And then you're spinning yourself into a deeper hole too when you're
Oh my God, yes. You're making it worse for yourself, actually. But you cannot, with mental health, it's one of those things you can't drag someone to be ready. They have to be ready. And for most people, the readiness comes when you hit rock bottom. So when you're just like, all I see is a hole and I have no hope and I don't know what to do. That's when you're most likely don't talk, don't tell them my business. You stop caring. You're just like, I just want this feeling to go away. Please just help me. I don't care what you think of me. Just help me. And so I think hitting rock bottom helps to facilitate that. But you don't need to be at rock bottom to get a proper diagnosis.
Okay. Yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
But geez, I mean, so much great information. No, honestly, that's a lot of great information that we need to know. This is a taboo topic. Nobody talks about it. Nobody gives us that real conversation about it. So thank you for talking about it, man. We definitely, in our community, we need to just stop the nonsense and speak.
I think it's my fan making that noise. 1 second. Because I hear like a boom, 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 boom. 1 second, let me think it's my fan. I'm like, what is making this sound? Most likely it's my fan. Oh, Lord help me. Yep, most likely it was. There we go. That sounds a little better.
Yeah. I couldn't hear it. I couldn't hear it at all.
But no, it is hard. And, I've been very vocal, even with you, that it's hard for me to be open. I'm a Black woman, I'm a Caribbean woman. These are just things that you don't hear. And a lot of people will say they're mental health advocates, but I think what I'm trying to bring to it is the voice of someone who actually has a mental health disorder. It's not a textbook of what to expect or what do you think the process looks like. It's actually like, this is what I lived. This is what I've learned as I've met others who have had to go through that journey like me. And I think one of the biggest things is I always feel alone, which is why I create like these little mini communities is really just to help to feel connected and not like something's wrong with me. I'm a person and not perfect, and that's fine. It really is fine.
100%. That's another thing that we got to remember too. We're all human, and we all deal with, at one point or another, almost the same emotions. They definitely, that feeling of being different.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, all emotions are valid, and I think this is where people, I always see, the hashtag positive vibes only. No, you don't have to always have positive vibes. It's okay to have sucky vibes. It's okay to be depressed. It is actually normal and healthy to feel every emotion. You should feel happy, sad, scared, anxious, depressed. You should have that. You should feel everything. The disorder isn't because you feel little moments of sadness. That doesn't make you clinically depressed. Clinical depression is way more involved in that. So, when I always see positive vibes only, I've never put that. I would say I wish people positive vibes, but I never say it because there are times when I suck. I'm miserable and depressed and I see no hope. And I say that and my friends look at me like, she's talking foolishness again. I suck and my energy is horrible and I bring down the mood in the room and that's okay. I'm human. it's okay for me to feel it. And if I say it and I release it, it allows me to actually start to shift back to that positive feeling because I've acknowledged the emotion, I'm releasing it, and I'm now trying to go back to the good one. So every emotion is fine. Every emotion is valid. We don't have to run from emotions because they're painful. We just need to learn to acknowledge it and then try to shift back to the good ones.
It's true, definitely true. They all shape who we are, and it's about recognizing it.
Yeah.
100%. Well, geez, talk to us about how you stay committed because you're super committed. We see you. You're out here. We're about to jump on a spin class. How do we get a bike? Like, I need to order. I want to try this thing out. Like, I'm not even joking. I need to get.
I am actually gonna. I've had so many people DM me about bikes. I'm actually gonna do a post about this because there are a lot of bikes that are under 1,000. It just takes a while to find them.
Yeah.
But there are options. But I think the first thing is start where you are at. Like start with what you have, right? So if you have nothing and all you can do is turn on the music and dance around the house like you're crazy, do that. Start there. And I'm serious. Like start where you are at. Like start where you are. Here's the thing about movement, it's addictive. The more you move, the more you're gonna want it. And the more you want it, you will start to make conscious decisions to invest in a bike or invest in weights because you're craving this. And now you can validate spending this money and you do everything possible to get the money to do it because you so want it. Start where you're at, and then as long as you keep going, it will grow. I think for me, and I want to really do a shout out to the women that come to my classes. It's so funny. Creating a network is so important to help be consistent. There's so many days I do not want to work out, but these women pay to come and see me, and they're like holding me accountable, and I'm just like, well, I guess I gotta go teach this class. And then I go on the bike or I start whatever, and it's like within 5 minutes, I'm like, why do I run away from this? This is like the best feeling ever. So having even like a workout partner or find a group of people or like-minded people who are maybe also trying, that accountability does help with consistency because if you don't show up, they're gonna ask you. And the fact that you don't want to disappoint them and they don't want to disappoint you, it's like you both are pulling each other in the right direction. So yeah, accountability, huge part, and start where you are. I mean, as I said, my first workouts were in my bed, and I'm not even lying. I literally found stuff on Google, and I lay on my bed, and I worked out because I couldn't even stand it because it was too painful. The more active I got, the more I was able to do more. It's a natural progression.
Wow. And so you mentioned you have some people you want to shout out, some ladies from your anybody else you want to shout out? I live a life of gratitude, and I'm grateful for anyone that comes in my life. Good, bad, ugly, pretty, it doesn't make a difference. I believe every person has played a role in molding me. And yes, my Alan Sweat Fitness family, I love them to the end. Like, they're so awesome. My circle of friends outside of Alan Sweat, they have been my rock. I'm not going to call names because then I have to remember who's who. And I actually have a pretty decent sized circle because I try not to tap in on everybody all the time. But I love them because they see me and they see my disorder and they know it's not the same person. And I'm really grateful for the fact that they help to remind me that sometimes that this is your depression talking, Susan. We know you, we know your heart, and you're not useless. You have a purpose. They basically hold up that mirror when I'm struggling to remember who I am. So my circle are my girls. I call it my family because
that's true love because they chose to love me, and they all the friends that I have that are very core with me, they all met me after 2018. They all met me when I was very broken and very scared and vulnerable, and they embraced me and they've watched me evolve. So my girls are my rocks. They really are, and I think besides them, I want to give a really big shout out to Trish Curlin. She was the trainer that I met before the losses. She was the first trainer that empowered me. And it was funny that when I was looking to heal, I remembered my experience with her. And I've trained with her again post all of this. And she's actually worked with me on Island Sweat. She did some of the reggae yoga classes. But when I talk about that full circle, she empowered me and it allowed me to help empower others. And it's that continuous circle. So I'm grateful for her because I think I had met other trainers before and never clicked, but she came from a place of compassion. And as a trainer, I emulate that. And so, yeah, I can never, I tell her all the time I love her, but I can never repay her for what she really gave me, which is very powerful.
Wow. Well, I honestly want to appreciate you for coming on and sharing your story with me and everybody. I appreciate you being honest, courageous, and just being straight up. Because, I asked you all these questions and you were just right there to answer them, pouring yourself out to us, letting us know the real 411. Because we don't all have the answers. And it's important that we
No.
get them from people who look like us, people who are going through the same things. I'm sure there's lots of people that are in the chat that'll watch this, that are watching this now or that'll watch it later and either know somebody who is going through something or they themselves are going through something or in the future they may go through
Yeah.
something, and can relate back to this and say, these are some things that I could watch out for. Let me go and speak to a psychiatrist or get a
Yeah.
therapist or even just let a friend know that I am in need of some help and, somebody that they can trust and they can hold their hand and get the help that they need. So
Yeah.
thank you, Sue. Thank you. It was definitely a pleasure. And of
Yeah,
course,
I hope it helps.
oh,
I
for
hope it
sure.
helps people feel less lonely and less weird. And, I think I always tell people the more you own your vulnerability, it's the more you find your strength. And that's really what it is. The more I stop pretending I had a mental health disorder, the more I said it. I actually say it in job interviews. That's to tell you how much I really don't hide it. The more I owned it, the less power it had over me, and the more I actually discovered power that I didn't know. Like I would have never known I had the ability to come on IG Live and say what the hell I just said, and I'm gonna go back and think, oh my god, I really said that on social media. But you know what? Here's the thing. I've never actually seen an IG live with someone talking openly, and when I'm going through my hard moments, to see someone say what I've gone through, for me to feel that I can connect with them makes me feel less lonely and makes me know there's hope. So honestly, the more we own our flaws or our shortcomings and stop pretending we don't have it, it's really the more empowered we are. They give us our superpowers.
For sure. For sure. Do you have like a motivational quote or an inspirational quote that you would like to share?
My hashtag is always there. Be brave when scared. I'm scared all the time. I'm terrified all the time. But when you push through, when you're scared, that's normally when you get really great reward. You're harnessing your resilience, you're harnessing your strength. So whenever I get timid, I say to myself, be brave when scared. And I tell that to my son, and I say that to friends when they go for interviews, no matter what it is in your life, be brave when scared. You know, you will go through it and you look back and be like, oh, that wasn't as hard as I thought it was.
Yeah. It's so true. So true. I think we all definitely can swear for that one. You're like sweating bullets, sweat pellets running down, your whole back and everything. And then you go through it and you're like, oh, I can do it. I did it.
I can do it, and I did it, and that's
Yeah.
it. I did it. So it's be brave. I think we a lot of us tend to freeze because we get scared, and then we don't really live out our full potential because the fear is everything. But be brave when scared. If it scares you, do it.
That's right. You gotta feel the fear and do it anyway.
Just embrace it. And if you suck at it, oh well, you did it. Still a win.
Keep it moving. Keep it moving. My
But
God.
I really want to thank you, Elle, for like bringing me on because, and first of all, I want to thank Cube Style because they connected us together. But I want to thank you because I I was talking to them today, and I was saying, you create a space that's very safe for people to just say what they need to say to speak their truth. And you don't see this a lot on social media. A lot of social media is about just being pretty and perfect. So I want to just give you a shout out for having this space because it allows people like me I work with my intuition. If I don't feel safe, I don't do things. So, I'm grateful for you having this platform and for inviting me and making me feel safe so that I could be honest and vulnerable and open. I do appreciate that.
Oh, well, you're most welcome, girl. Trust me. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate Cube Style. I appreciate all the viewers and everybody watching, honestly, because you know what? Everybody's story is important, and everybody's story matters. And everybody has a story. And
Yeah.
sometimes we're surprised to know the stories of the people that are just doing great things out here. And we're like, oh my gosh, like anybody watching you just do your bike thing, watching that video,
Would never.
you're supporting people. You did that whole raising money the other day to support. You know what I'm saying? Nobody really knows what just in 2018, that's just a couple of years ago.
I know.
Trust me, girl. Everybody's story matters. But thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your story. And we'll be in touch. We'll definitely be in touch. I'm going to be looking for a bike. The rhythm in the class. Because the way I see it, I'm like, geez, I can't even pretend to ride my bike in the house. Like, I can't even do that. Like, I need to figure it out.
One thing I will say, because a few people come to my classes and they're just like, oh, she makes it look so easy. And then they go on the bike and they're just like, what the? You will be winded, eh? Like,
I know. Because just the 2-minute video or the 1-minute video that I see, I'm like, geez, like, I'm like, is that sweat? Like, oh my gosh. I don't know how you do it, girl, but.
you know what? You keep at my first spin class, I lasted 2 minutes. And then I sat down. I was like, what the hell? I was like, what the hell? But the music was awesome. So I was just like, I'm going to keep coming back because I need to last longer than 2 minutes.
And that's what it is. It's the music that keeps you hype.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The music is, for me, it's everything. And I sing in my classes. God knows I don't know how I do that. But yeah, I sing. I'm off key singing, off the breath singing. I'm totally singing and dying. That's why sometimes I end up off the bike because now I've completely lost my breath and I can't even ride it. But it's good. It's a good mix. It's a good mix. It's a good mix. And I'm grateful to have the platform to have fun and bring others along with us. I really am grateful.
Awesome. Well, you'll see me one of these days when I get my act in order, I will be on riding away too, girl.
Or you know what? Keep following because I am looking to maybe do some pop-ups in the future where you don't need to have a bike, but I'll go somewhere that already has bikes. So I'm not promising anybody anything, Just
Get in
saying,
there
keep
first
on.
so that you don't forget. All right, we're gonna hold you to
I'm
that.
just saying, I'm putting it out in the universe that when things kind of settle down, that I might be able to do pop-ups because I'm a pop-up queen. And I'll be able to do pop-ups where people have bikes already, and we can all just be there whether or not you have a bike. But I'm not committing to it. I'm just saying, baby, and it will be a pop-up.
All right, well, let me know, okay? Put me on that list, and I will definitely be
I
there.
have a very long list. All right, my love. Thank you again.
No problem. And we'll be in touch. I'll call you. All right?
No, no problem. Bye, my love. Have a great night. Bye, everyone in IG land. For me, I'm not even used to doing IG live. That's really sad.
It's all good, girl. You'll be back. You'll be back.
Maybe one day. One day. One day. Love and light.
All right, later. Wow, guys. Okay. She just gave us like so much things to think about. Beautiful, beautiful Sue. I love her energy. She's just phenomenal. Her story is phenomenal, and she's a phenomenal individual to just get to know on the fitness level and then on a deeper level as well. But one of the things that she reminded us, she left us with, is that harnessing that resilience, making sure that we like are pushing ourselves. We've all been there. We can all think of a time when we were like, okay, this I can't do this, you know, and then you push yourself and you really get through it. You can make it through almost any situation that you're faced with if you are looking for the right tools, right? So we got to look for the right tools, ask help when you need help, because that saying, God doesn't give you what you can't handle, I believe it's actually true. He doesn't give you what you can't handle, but never forget the story. My grandmother used to tell me the story all the time. She'd be like, God sent a flood and there was a man, and God sent so many people to save the man. He sent somebody, you know, at his door. Do you want to come? Come, there's coming a flood. And then, you know, somebody came out in a boat, and the man just kept going up to the top of his house until he was on the roof of the house, and then he drowned in the water. And when he went to heaven, he asked God, why didn't you save me? Like, why didn't I was praying and waiting for you to save me? And he's like, I did save you. I sent the man to come to your house. I sent the man in the boat. I sent the helicopter. I sent, you know, he sends so many people. So we got to recognize the good people that we have around us. Never forget them. Keep them, you know, abreast. Always call people to check up on them. Make sure they're good, and then they reciprocate that love back to you. You know what I mean? And just ask for help. I know it's hard. You know, it's hard, you know, for us to ask for help. But at the end of the day, it only results in you digging yourself a deeper hole. So ask for that help. Understand when you need help. Be real with yourself. Be accountable to yourself first, and then you will be able to be accountable and be held accountable by other people in the future. So just want to send Sue a big hug, a big thanks for coming through. God bless you, Sue. God bless the business. I know for sure she's just phenomenal. And I am, okay, that's my word. I put it out there. I'm going to get a bike, I'm going to figure it out and get on this Island Sweat Fitness, and, you know, just become a part of the gang. You know what I'm saying? But guys, honestly, fitness is definitely amazing. I was telling you a little bit earlier that I'm trying the fitness thing, you know. I was always into fitness slightly, but now I am trying to make sure that I can, you know, just do things with ease, like going up the stairs and stuff. It's just getting a little bit hectic, you know. So I started working out every Sunday. I do this 1 hour workout with BFit. She goes to the park, she works out with us, and, you know, it's a real good sweat. So that's the way I start my week. And then throughout the week, I'm just, you know, trying to maintain so that my legs don't tense up, and I'm stretching and trying to do a little 1-2 thing in the morning. So it's really good. Um, we have that going on, so make sure you guys check out BFit. Make sure you guys check out Island Fitness. Island Fitness is on the bike. She does other little things. The yoga, you heard her talking about the yoga and different things that she does. So check out her page and connect with her to make sure that you set yourself up for some classes. BFit also does some fitness, and I don't know if you guys seen the post, but check my page because we have the Renaissance Man Jay Martin coming through to the living room on Sunday, this Sunday. Make sure you guys get your tickets if you're interested in coming through. That's going to be such a phenomenal event. I know that they are having some beautiful appetizers. I think like chicken and waffles, bruschetta. I can't even name all the different delicacies I heard. I'm there for the food. You know what I'm saying? And of course the jokes, because you know Jay Martin is going to throw it down. He always does. Not only is he going to be hosting the event, we also have some live talent that's going to be there. Just a very elegant, nice, phenomenal get-together party. It's very exclusive, so you could only get your tickets beforehand. So make sure you guys check that link. And then email to get your tickets, your exclusive tickets. Okay, they got raffles, giveaways, prizes, a whole bunch of different things. Also, you know that the summit is coming up August. I have this summit. This one is going to blow everything out the water, because we always have our live talent. We have these expert panelists that come on to the summit. But this time we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to introduce the marketplace. So we have virtual marketplace opened up to different vendors from all over who are just going to be showcasing, selling their products, their services, all of that good stuff. So I'm really excited about the marketplace, because this is the first time we're launching it. It's being created as we speak right now. It's almost totally complete, and I'm just so excited about this marketplace. It's coming along so nicely. Got my vision. It's all good. So that's coming up August 18th to 20th is the marketplace, and then August 21st is the summit. So check the link, register for the summit, and if you know any individual who is like a business owner, entrepreneur, business, services, products, any of that good stuff, and they are looking to market their business, get it out there, advertise, just click the link in my bio and apply. There's the application form for the vendors on my bio. Other than that, my gosh, it is July 19th already, guys. The month is just flying by. Okay, before we know it, it's going to be Caravana weekend. You know, I don't know what you guys are doing. What's up? Let me know what parties are out there. There's so many parties. I see everybody coming up with boat ride, this, that. So what are you guys up to that weekend? Because that's really the last long weekend, the last lap, we can call it, before the summer is done. You know what I'm saying? Because once you see Labor Day, once you see Caravana weekend, you know that, like, that's it. Just wrap it up, because August is just it's gonna be done, you know? So you guys have yourselves a wonderful week. Next week, we will be back with yet another fabulous guest. Okay, and make sure you share this live with anybody that you think may be dealing with mental health issues. Even if you just want to share the live, because just by sharing this particular one in particular, you know, somebody will be touched by it, I do believe. So I just want to thank you guys for hopping on. Thank you guys for joining What's the 411. And remember, this is where everybody's story matters. Okay? All right, I'll talk.